Hello everybody. Today I'm going to be showing you some books that I have because I have been organizing my apartment and I need to get rid of some of these books. I'm going to really try to remain calm throughout the video. Now I will go through each book and just explain just a little bit about each book. And I didn't really categorize them in any particular way, but they're sort of categorized. I don't have as many as I expected, but so we'll start with, I have a lot of books, at least half of them are books about food, and either food or the table settings, recipes. So what I will begin with is first I will show you all the books I have that are related to cooking and food. I have some small ones here. I have some small books here. First, now the small books will fit into this flat rate envelope, which to send anywhere within the US, this one is, according to the online, will be $5.25, no matter where I send it in the United States. With tracking, it will be $7.25. That would be sending it almost like sending it FedEx. The same idea where you can track it and find out where it is, etc. So if you feel it's worth it, you can request it with tracking, or just the flat rate without tracking, and it will, just be the flat rate. Then again, for this one, from what I saw online, was $5.25, and then it takes maybe 2 days to get to you. But also it might be, I get a little bit confused because I did check online, and in one part it said it was $5.25 and tracking was free. But then another time at my job, I send letters out using this service, and it comes to $7.25. So I believe somebody's working out there. And this one was $5.75, and I assume $2 more for tracking. But if it turns out when I send it, it doesn't charge me for the tracking, because today I looked and it said free tracking, so then I will return any extra money. So the small one, okay. See, if I go slow, the video will take forever because there's a lot to talk about. one more thing before I start on the books. Yes, the small books will fit in this one. So 1 book, 2 books, they'll fit in the small envelope. Then some of the fatter books won't fit in the small envelopes. You'll have to put it in this larger one. And if you want more than 1 large book, this will really only fit 1 large book. I could try to squish more in, but it's a flat rate for as much as you can squish in there. But okay, anyway, now we'll start on the books. So we'll start with the small books about cooking. Start with these 2. Well, it's cooking or anything else about the kitchen or table settings. So we have this one. It's Learn to Cook Wok. Wok. That's the Chinese frying pan. Here's some really nice pictures. That's a wok. And it just explains and shows nice pictures, and it's very small. And wok cooking is very nice. I'll just read the first paragraph here about the wok. It says, the wok originated in China. It is now the main cooking utensil in a number of Asian countries, as well as being used in many Western countries because of the unique way in which it cooks food. I won't read so much because you will get bored. But look at all these nice things. Sliced steak with Chinese cabbage. You know, it's a small little book. Thai. There's some Thai dishes. You know, and it explains a little bit. Tempura. That's Japanese. So it's basically, the name of the book is Wok, but it's got different recipes from a few different Asian countries. That will fit in the small envelope. This one may be of interest to many of you ASMR artists. Napkin folding. Now, some of you may remember Maria's napkin folding video. Maria of Gentle Whispering. Maybe you can also do a napkin folding video, the ASMR artists. Look at all these pretty ways you can fold a napkin. And it explains with pictures. Rose. This shows how to make a rose. It's almost like origami, but with napkins. You could actually make it with paper too. Pretty paper. That's really nice. Here we have Mr. Boston's Official Bartender's Guide. And again, it's got some pictures. It tells you how to make all kinds of drinks. A Sloppy Joe's cocktail. Maybe I ought to make a few of these before I send out the book. Just kidding. Okay. So that's a nice book you might be interested in. Now this is a larger book. This book is about, it says pâtisserie, which is the word pastry in French. And there's some really pretty things here. I'll bet you puff pastries in here. If you recall, when I was doing the folding the fitted sheet video, I was telling you that I was folding the sheet just like you would make a puff pastry, because that's how they make puff pastry. They fold it in layers like that, so it puffs up when it cooks. You know, just basic pastry making. The French are very good at that, pastries. So if you like to get some recipes, feel free. I don't look in books much anymore because I find you can pretty much find almost any recipe you want on the internet. However, if the internet's down, it's nice to have books around to look up recipes. So that's up to you. Okay. This is the beginner's guide. I'm laughing because I'm trying to make a video and my father's banging around, and now that they're back there yakking away, so the beginner's guide. But I really wanted to do the video, and I like the natural light. So you know, it's a good time of day to do it. Okay, they seem to have walked by, so. What was I saying? Oh, look, they're even showing how they make the grapes inside barrels. I myself have barely looked at any of these books. I'm only discovering them now. But I know that I'm not going to read them, so I really hope someone will enjoy the book. But yeah, that's an interesting picture where I guess they're shoveling grapes into a barrel. Where is that picture? Here. See, it looks like some workmen are shoveling grapes in there and squishing them, maybe, like if you've ever seen, I'm sure if you're into Lucille Ball, the first thing you think of when you see a vat of grapes is Lucille Ball jumping around in the vat of grapes. She gets into a fight with an Italian lady. Please look that up. That is on YouTube. I think one time I told you all to look up something on YouTube, and it turns out you couldn't really find it on YouTube. But look at that. It's sucking the wine out with a big hose. Looks like a vacuum cleaner, I guess. Unless it's coming in. They're vatting. This is a big vat. And then it ferments in there. It's just showing the whole process of how wine is made. So, you know, that might be fun for someone to look at. As well as the wine itself, the flavors and what foods they go with. Here's a simple little book. How to garnish, step by step. Just how to make your vegetables look pretty. Now, this one, it does not have a lot of pictures. This is mainly drawings, and it's in black and white. Oh, here's a picture. You know, there are some pictures, but it's just how to make your fruit and vegetables look pretty. Or how to garnish a dish. You have a dish, you make a pretty little flower out of a carrot, for example, and you garnish your dish. A lemon pig, a melon swan. I really hope you're able to see. I'm not sure if it's visible on the other end. A centipede slice. You can make a centipede. You know, just real pretty stuff. How to garnish. We've got 2 more cooking books. Another pastry book, but this one is complete cake decorating. It's just focused on cakes and how to decorate cakes. A lot of really pretty pictures. Explains how to make. It actually has the cake recipe, and then it tells you how to decorate. Madeira cake. I think I made a Madeira cake once. Rich fruit cake. Ruffle cake mix. So this is making cakes, basic cake recipes. So first chapter is basic cake recipes. Then moving on, covering cakes. So it shows you different ways to cover. You know, this is instead of icing a cake, for example, you can wrap it up in like a marzipan. Food colorings, you know, you can food color the marzipan or anything else. Gum paste is another thing they use to sort of, it's, instead of icing the cake, it's like you're wrapping the cake, like it's a gift. But the wrapping is made out of a sort of a stiffer icing that is almost like a dough, but that's icing. It's made of confectioner's sugar. You know, then you can make pretty flowers and put them on the cake. I love marzipan. That's made of almonds. Really nice. Shows you how to use the that thing you use to squirt the icing. Explains how to use that. You know, spread it out. Really pretty pictures. And you know, I don't want to spoil the whole book for you, so I'll let you just get a little view. You know, rabbits. You know, for like for children's cakes, birthday cakes. And this is called Pleasures of the Table by Florence Fabricant. Florence Fabricant. And it's all kind of recipes. China Express free delivery. That's from when I used to live in Washington, D.C. This is how old these books are. It's from the 90s. Because I moved away from D.C. in 1997, so. And I was, you know, there a few years before that, so I think I had these books even before then. So anyway, a lot of nice food, just nice food. Look at that, that's mozzarella cheese, fresh mozzarella cheese, tomatoes, some basil, and then they sprinkle it with some pepper, I think. Yeah, different recipes. 3-onion quiche, for example. Quiche is really easy to make. I've made them. Beet and watercress salad. So it's all of the serving, all of the what do you call it? When you have, you know, this appetizer, then you have the entree, then you have the dessert, then you have courses. So it shows various courses of dinner. Food for a cool food for a warm evening. Just nice suggestions for you to make things. Northern Italian specialties. I really enjoyed it. If you get the Pleasures of the Table book, I'll throw in a Chinese takeout menu from 1997 from Washington, D.C. So that's included there. And then what else fell out from there? A Cornish hen with lentils recipe was shoved in there for some reason too. So I'll leave that in there too for you if you get this book. Pleasures of the Table. So that's it for the cookbooks. I'm going to keep this one for myself. The next group of books that I'm going to show you have to do with the home, decorating and design, mainly. This little one, The Elements of Feng Shui. I think it's pronounced Feng Shui, even though it looks like it's spelled Feng Shui. I've heard people tell me it's pronounced Feng Shui. And this book, Feng Shui, is about making your home flow with positive energy. It's also a Chinese system for decorating homes. No pictures, however. I think there may be a few little drawings here and there, but it's basically explaining the system of Feng Shui, or Feng Shui. Feng Shui, whoever knows how to pronounce it. I apologize. And I kind of read through it. It was interesting. You know, some houses you walk in and you just feel at peace and it's inviting. And now the Asians have a special way of organizing their homes so that, you know, you feel that energy, positive energy. This is not a book. It's actually a catalog, but it was so pretty. it's an architect who lives around the corner who is always throwing out things. But so this is a catalog of natural woods and stones for, you know, for decorating your home, like floors and walls. And so it shows different samples of woods. Here are some woods. See, look at those wood floors. So beautiful. And it was just such a pretty catalog. And it's apparently a catalog that only architects can buy from. You know, they have access to certain decorating elements that regular people don't. So, you know, here's some, I don't know if that's marble, you know, very, very luxurious homes. Go beyond wood and stone. Be bold. Take a twist on traditional or follow design at its cutting edge. Okay. So it's really pretty. If you want that, you know, and then here are the colors. They tell you what colors they are. So if you are decorating your home, maybe you could speak to your architect and ask him about these woods and stones. This one, I'll do this one last. This one, interior design. These are textbooks for students that I think I was taking an interior design course once. Again, something from DC. I stick things in there. I may as well leave it in there. These are old brochures. I guess it's an old architecture brochure. From Washington, D.C. also. From Silver Spring, Maryland. But the book is a textbook on interior design. And it just gives you the basics of space planning and interior design planning. Energy consumption, HVAC and electrical matters. Oops, what's that? Looks like a little children. Looks like a little children's drawing. I have no idea what that's from. Plumbing systems. You know, interior design is more than just decorating. You're actually designing, but it's not quite architecture or engineering. You know, they have different levels. So it's a combination of architecture and space planning. Some really pretty things. This will fit in the large envelope. Gothic design. Different types of design. Vaulted construction has now generally become obsolete. It's a very old book, by the way. Again, the 90s. If it's things from inside or from Washington, D.C., from when I used to live there, this is from the 90s. I mean, the copyright's in the front, but it's, you know, basic interior design. The elements of design don't change. You know, you might come up with new materials, but the abstract portion of learning about interior design or cooking or anything, it's always the same. It's the basics. So even if they're old books, they're still useful if you're interested in that topic. And here's one called Understanding Art, which I saw in a pile of, you know, people put things out on the street when they don't want them anymore. They don't throw them in the garbage. So if you happen to be walking by, I will admit that if I see nice things in a pile of junk that people have put out as trash, you know, I won't go digging through trash, but if it's just out sitting there, it's because they figure somebody's gonna pick it up, because they you know, figure I don't need it anymore, but maybe someone else wants it. So I am one of those people that will look in the piles of junk that people put out on the curb for the garbage man, and if it's not inside, I don't go digging through the garbage. Anyway. So this was, some college kids were living across the street, and I guess it was the end of the year, and they were getting rid of their books, their textbooks. So these are, pretty good condition. I mean, it's a pity they could have returned them back to the school so that another student could use it or something. But anyway, so it just explains. I have not read it at all. I looked at some of the pictures, but I'm assuming it's interesting. It's all about understanding art, and again, design, art, the elements of design, whether it be architecture, whether it be clothing design, whether it be art, the elements of design, they're all based on the same thing. I'll show you these. These are, at one time I thought I was going to become a paralegal, and I bought all kind of books. Like, before I was going to become a paralegal, I was going to become a chef, and I bought all the cookbooks, and I was going to become a pastry chef, and I've given away some books. But so as you can see, it's a brand new book that I think if I opened it, I've only opened it once or twice. So it's called Legal Research and Writing for Paralegals. These are textbooks. These are books that students will use. Just, if you're interested in paralegal, real boring. If you want pretty pictures, don't get this book. This is all words, and it's all about learning. And, well, they're all about learning. See, I'm getting loud again. So I forget. I'm sorry. So, I really wish I could get through a video and not get all excited. So here is a book about learning how to become a paralegal. This one, okay, where I live. Now this one, Paralegalism Today. Today was back in the 90s, but late 90s, this is from then. It's a textbook from the school. I think I enrolled in a school online, and it was interesting. It was very interesting. But just bear in mind, it's saying Paralegalism Today means 1990s, late 90s. So, legal research specialty, you can become a specialist in legal research, and that helps the lawyers with their cases, prepare their cases. They often, they always will look at previous cases that were similar to the case that they're working on for reference. So a paralegal learns how to go into the system and find the information that the lawyer needs to prepare his case for or against, as a prosecutor or as a defense lawyer. And more about legal research, because really being a lawyer is really based on doing the research you need for that case, and you're an expert in that field, on that subject for that case, for the duration of the case. The case is over, you don't know anything anymore, and you start becoming an expert on whatever your next case is, or whatever. And if you can't be an expert, you find the experts who come to your case to testify. So a paralegal just takes over that part, the really hard part about getting the research, finding the experts, basically everything. For really, really complicated cases, a paralegal is nowhere near as qualified as a lawyer. But there are some very basic, simple cases, uncontested divorces, for example, that basically the paralegal can do everything. The lawyer just has to show up. Because if they're, very easy cases, many times the paralegals can do most of the work. And it saves your client money, because rather than paying the hourly wage of a lawyer, he's paying the hourly wage of a paralegal, who, by the way, they earn well, paralegals. That's why I was deciding I was going to become a paralegal at one time. But long story short, I met the man who became my husband. I dropped everything. don't do that, girls. If you are studying something and you meet a wonderful man who at the time you think is wonderful, finish your studies. If the man loves you, he'll wait for you to finish studying. This is called Let's Start. For people who, adults who don't know how to read, many times they have learning disabilities, or maybe they just have had a bad life, where, disruptions in the household make it impossible for them to go to school. Children who are born into families where one or both parents are, addicted to drugs, or, really horrible situations for a child. So anyway, they grow up and they still don't know how to read, many of them. So I was volunteering to help teach adults to read. And those were the two cases you find ordinarily, either bad background, where there were no parents that really, or guardians who really helped encourage them and make sure they went to school. And then children who had learning disabilities that were undetected, or, especially in the past, autism, nobody knew what that was. Nobody had heard of it. It was just, the kid's a little slow, or, these days, obviously, we know better. So there are still adults that don't know how to read, so you can volunteer. You can find out at your local library. I went to my local library, and for about a year I was helping teach one or two adults I had assigned to me. Would meet with them every week, and we would read, and I would try to help them learn. Now I have these last few books that are just miscellaneous. One is a little magazine. I think I got it at the, when you're standing online at the grocery store and the line's kind of long and you look at the books they have there in the candy stand, so I think this was one of the books that was there that I thought, why do cats sulk? I thought it was interesting. And it's a book about cats. Questions and answers about cats. Why is a cat's tongue so raspy? Why do cats drink dirty water? Hey, why do cats drink dirty water? I wonder. It does seem unreasonable. There you go, washing your drinking bowl every day, then filling it with nice fresh tap water. She ignores it and drinks from dirty puddles instead. Okay, it says that sometimes tap water has chlorine in it, and the cats are very sensitive to smell, similar to dogs, but dogs don't seem to care too much about tap water. So anyway, I think that's what it says, but a lot of interesting things. Why do cats chase birds? All kind of questions about cats. What was that one? Why are kittens born with their ears folded? Isn't that a nice little book? So if you're a cat lover, you might like this book. Roald Dahl I've read a few of his books. I did not read this one. It was, again, one that I found outside. Not all of these books were picked up from the street corners, but from the curb, but this one was. It's called The Witches by Roald Dahl. It's in kind of not so great condition, and the only reason I picked it up is because the author was Roald Dahl. If it had been some other author, I probably would have just left it, because it's really not in the greatest condition. So you see, this is ripped, but it's still readable. More horrifying still is that real witches don't even look like real witches. They don't ride around on broomsticks. That's what it says back there. He's very, he did James and the Giant Peach. He did The Fantastic Mr. Fox. And he did he do Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory? I don't remember. He might have done Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory also. I believe he's the author of that too. I'm positive he is. People. How to find relationships that are good for you and avoid those that aren't. Now why do we get these books and then don't follow the advice in them? I don't know. All right, and then this is the one, Children of Alcoholism, A Survivor's Manual. So if you know someone whose parents are alcoholic, or if you, okay, here's a card, a business card. Or if you are a survivor of parents with alcoholism, or, it might be useful for someone you know. So there you go. Those are the books that I'm giving away. Again, $5.25 if they fit in this envelope, or with tracking, it's probably $7.25. And this one, I guess it won't be more than $8 if I have to use the larger envelope. And I'll fit as many as I can into the one envelope, you know, because it's a flat rate and it's the same price. And we'll see if all of you want the books. I'll try to be fair, but if, you know, maybe I won't get that many people wanting them, and we'll play by ear. Okay? Well, thanks for watching.